Well, today is Tuesday, May 6th, 2025. Gas price $1.25.9, diesel $31.9, and I'm doing my first trip delivering a JLG articulated combo boom lift, or hybrid. Sorry, it's called the hybrid because it can run on its electric motor, or like when you need it quiet, let's say you're inside the building and you don't want exhaust, or it just has a regular diesel engine. And so heading to Beaspo area, you know, where all those big mansions are, west of Calgary, just northwest. And not much to report. So my bike sits at home. I felt tired yesterday because we did a bunch of scaffolding, a pretty big order, and so I thought I would do like a test run, but I decided to leave it for today. Today should not be that busy. I'm gonna go and do a test run, maybe do a video. And my Dodge Durango now has just over 7,000 kilometers on the odometer, and I haven't done a oil change yet. So I got the vehicle in October 24, and usually I try to do them at least, you know, every 6 months. Even though I checked the manual for this vehicle, they recommend like once. They say you cannot make them less often than once a year, but I think once a year it's not good. Like I said, I prefer like 6 months. Usually I try to do oil changes, you know, after winter and then before the cold season. So let's say, you know, March and November, you know, something like that. And so I booked and I have prepaid oil changes. I don't have to pay anything. You know, it was one of those deals where they give you kind of like free oil changes, but you prepay for them. It's like an option when you buy the vehicle. And so now I said, how will I know that? Do I have to go to the same dealership where I bought the Durango? And they said, no, you can go to any Chrysler dealership. It's attached to your VIN. So once they scan the VIN, they will see that this option is there, that you paid for it. And this Saturday I'm not working at this main job, and so I decided to see if I can do the oil change this Saturday, and it was available, so it's booked. And Durango also has K&N filter. I'll make sure to remind them not to throw it away. And I'm gonna, after oil change, I'm gonna check it, make sure it's not too dirty. But usually 7,000 kilometers, that's nothing. On the Compass, which now has about 42,000 kilometers, I only cleaned it once, but it was really dirty. But Compass, it's a pain in the butt to check that filter because it has like 8 bolts or screws rather, and they're so hard to, you know, unfasten, you know. I don't know why you need so many screws, where on the Durango you don't need any tools. It's just 2 clasps, you know, like with those little hinges. You pop them up and you open the top of the box where the filter is, and that's it. And also, for some reason, on the Durango, even though the engine is much bigger, 5.7 V8, the filter is 3 times smaller in size than the one on the Compass, which is a 2-liter turbo. So I don't know what's with that, but I'll check it this weekend. I'll check it this weekend, and then yeah, Sunday, if the weather's good, I wanna take my bike and load it in the back of the Durango and go downtown. Like, we have a bike path right next to, you know, Bull River, and you have some great views of downtown there. And whenever I'm driving there, I'm always envious of those people biking and, you know, and running over there right next to the water. And so now that I have a bike that I'm not ashamed to ride, and the vehicle Durango big enough to hold the bike, because yeah, even though my previous one was a folding bike, right, but I only carried it, I think, once in the trunk of a Compass, because it was still tight in there, and when you fold it, you mess with all those gears and, you know, derailleurs and stuff like that, and then you have to fix them. Yeah, there's a bunch of parks here, so you can find the route to your liking pretty easy. And there's a bunch of I found City of Calgary has a special website where you can download a map with all the walking paths and biking paths, you know. And there's one near my home that pretty much goes all around Calgary. Which would probably be close to like 100 kilometers. It's called Rotary. And over here in this area, it follows the Ring Road 201 that I'm now on. And it's all paved, you know, very nice bike path. This Bennington Trail entrance on 201 because it's super hilly, and so you have to start from like 30 kilometers an hour. And you know, when you have a load, even though like this boom lift, it's just under 10,000 pounds. I think it's like 9,700 pounds, but for this truck it's heavy. And there's always trucks here with flashing lights, you know, especially some heavy haul trucks. They're always stuck in this lane, and of course nobody pays attention until the last moment. Then people try to change lanes. Yeah, you see, this is really steep, and so the truck, you heard the change gears, and of course it's an automatic Freightliner. I also bought a new camera because I had that Z6 Mark II, which was already a couple of years old, and now there's a bunch of new models, you know, with much better autofocus and basically better cameras. And so I found out now they have this Z5 Mark II or Z5 Mark II, and people were saying great things about it, and so I got it ordered through Amazon. And the only problem with Amazon, because you know it's an expensive item, want them to leave it at my door when I'm at work, right? And so they gave me a password, you know, like something new that Amazon started doing. Like when it's something expensive, they email you a one-time password, and the driver cannot leave the item unless you tell them that password. And they said, do not give it over the phone or via text message. You have to be physically present, you know. And so this guy, I'm at work yesterday, and it was a one-day delivery. I ordered it Sunday, and they tried to deliver Monday. And so it's like 11 o'clock. I'm on my lunch break, and my phone rings, and I see it says Amazon. Okay. And the guy says, could you open the door? Never gets old, you know, because when he punches the number of my apartment, it connects at the entrance. It connects him to my cell phone. And it's interesting that at first it did not work. You know, when I moved here, I still had my Ontario number with the 226 area code, and I registered it, you know, and then I was buying something on Amazon and they could never reach me. And I'm like, what's going on? Turns out you cannot use out of town area code. So basically no long distance, I guess, because they were charged or something. And so then I changed my number to the local 403, and it started working, but except we have no control. I cannot open the door, I cannot do anything remotely, like in some buildings. So all I can do is talk to the guy, right? And so this guy like, can you open the door? I said, no. Could you give me the password? I said, no. Amazon said I have to give it to you in person, and you cannot leave the camera at my door. I'm at work. And I said, I have instructions, you know, like on Amazon, on your profile, you can add instructions, right? And so I added there, holy macro, I added there, deliver only after 5 p.m. Because sometimes I work till 4, sometimes I work till 3, but 5 p.m. I'm home. But of course these guys never read it, or maybe they don't know how to read. He tries to deliver at 11. Like, who's home at 11? I don't know. I said, can you try after 5 today? Okay. And so yesterday I finished at 4:30 and bought some groceries, some chicken legs that I baked in oven. And so I was home like 10 to 5. Perfect. So waiting for the guy, and I decided to check the status of the shipment, because sometimes they tell you one thing and then they do another, you know. And so I tracked the package, and sure enough, it says we tried to deliver at 11:30 today, but there was a problem with the delivery. We'll try again tomorrow. Like, what happened to the evening delivery, right? And so I hope today that this guy is not gonna call me again in the middle of the day, because it should be, usually it's the same guy, right? They assigned area of the city. So yeah, that's what's happening. Always some issues with this Amazon, you know, like. And Canada Post is not much better either. Remember that issue I had when I bought a gun online and they shipped it, and the guy faked my signature because it was supposed to be a delivery with a signature. So he signed for me, Sergei, and left the gun at my door outside because I was at work. And all I see is I receive a message that says delivered. What? how can you deliver it? And it says, click here to see the signature. Like, I know I'm at work, so there's no way I can sign, right? But I click out of interest and I see somebody scribbled my first name, Sergei. Son of a gun. And I complained, nothing happened. They didn't do anything. I saw that guy again in a few days over there with packages for Canada Post. I thought he would lose his job because of this. And well, in the email, right? In the email that they sent me back to my reply to my complaint, they said, "Oh, we're taking these matters very seriously. Please rest assured that's not how we do things, la la la." But nothing changed. The guy was not fired. He kept working, so I'm pretty sure he'll do it again.
In 1 kilometer, turn right onto Township Road 252.
The mountains look good today. So that's west. I'm heading south. And now we'll be making a right turn. So it's northwest Calgary. I like coming here because houses are so, you know, pretty. Like this side, you have regular houses, but here you have houses with, you know, huge lots sitting by themselves, you know, in the middle of the field.
In about 1.5 kilometers, turn left onto Mayor's Road.
Turn left. Interesting. Yeah, usually that's the area I'm talking about, like these beautiful mansions over here. Usually we go in here. Oh, actually, yeah, this is not Baspo, this is Watermark community, Watermark. Baspo is still a kilometer away.
At the next stop sign, turn left.
Baspo Village Road.
Turn left onto Bearspaw Terrace, then arrive at your destination.
Baspo Terrace. Yeah, that's my street. So just dropped off the boom lift, and usually I joke with dispatchers when I come back and I give them the paperwork. I say, another happy customer. Well, not this time, because Captain Sergei screwed up. Happened before, but doesn't happen often, where I don't notice something on the paperwork. But well, once I loaded the machine because I did not notice big letters at the top of the paperwork saying pickup. So it was not a delivery, it was a pickup. So I was supposed to leave empty and go pick up the machine. Instead I loaded it, and so had to unload. Went in, apologized to dispatch, but or sometimes, once I brought a scissor lift to a guy, and he looks at the deck and he says, supposed to be 2 of them. I'm like, holy moly, what? I look at the paperwork, and again, it says scissor lift, but then to the left, where it shows quantity, it says 2. And so now I double check, triple check to make sure there's nothing hiding somewhere on the second page. And usually the last item you see, it says heavy, like regular delivery fee, or heavy delivery. Like this was heavy delivery because we're using the Freightliner, right? And I look at that, everything's good. 1 machine, 1 boom lift. And so I tried calling the guy, he's not answering, so I sent him a message saying, coming with the machine, ETA is so and so. And he starts texting me back when I'm driving, so I don't want to touch the phone. But when I arrived there and I stopped, I read the text message, and one of them says, please park it near the house and tell me where you hide the key, and leave the safety harness kits inside. I'm like, wait, what? What safety harness kits? And I look at my paperwork, and one thing I did not notice, the very last line on page 2, and of course tiny letters, it says safety harness kit 2 of those. It's like a little bucket, like a pail, but people buy them, like we sell them, right? That's not a rent. So basically sometimes people, when they rent these machines, they buy that kit, but that happens like once a year because most people have their own kits, right? And so this guy ordered the machine together with 2 safety harness kits, and because it was not highlighted, it was the last entry on the second page at the very bottom, I missed it. And so I apologized to the guy. I said, I'm sorry, I did not notice it on the paperwork. I told my dispatch about this. So yeah, I called the office and I said, here's what happened. I forgot to bring the safety harness kits. Could you please send somebody? But it's pretty far. It's like, well, not that far, maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes, 25 kilometers. But still, it's like gas, right? Like you waste gas, come here, go back. But hopefully one of our pickup trucks will be doing a delivery or pickup not too far from here, and so they can just give him those kits and he can bring them over here. Yeah, so sorry, my bad, like stuff happens. I don't think they will send me in the Freightliner unless there's something like my next trip. I'm doing something going northwest. I don't know. And the guy sends me, I send him a picture of the spot where I hid the key. And he says, when do you think the harnesses will be here? And I said, for ETA on the kits, please contact our office and ask for dispatch. And he said thank you, because I don't know. Like, I told dispatch, I said, please send somebody Of course, he was not too happy about this, but what do you do?
At the light, turn right onto Fairchild Trail Northwest.
Son of a gun, you know, like when they have these multiple items can be tricky. Like yesterday I was delivering insulation vacuum, like a machine that sucks in, you know, when they clean insulation from inside the house, and it comes with so many pieces. Just the machine itself, it's easy, right? It just says insulation vacuum. Here's the code for the machine, you know, like each machine has a number, like series or class, and then a unit number, right? So you look for those numbers on the machine so you know that's the machine you want. Okay, so I delivered these quite a few times, you know, with the pickup truck. So I find the machine, and then you have to find like 4 big barrels. Each barrel, I kid you not, like a big plastic barrel, contains a hose. And so you look and it says 4 6-inch hoses and 1 4-inch hose, I think. And then there's some extension tubes, there's some connectors. And one thing I forgot once, I was delivering this, and I did not notice there was garbage bags. Like, you know, when this machine has a little, you know, exit for all this stuff, right? Kind of like a vacuum where it blows dirty stuff out, and that's where you connect these plastic bags so that the garbage is not thrown, you know, into the air. And so we sell these in a box of 20. And so that guy ordered a box of 20, and I did not notice it on the paperwork. And so you know, like I'm telling you, this stuff can be really detailed, so you really have to pay attention. Well, in my defense, customers make mistakes too. Once I brought everything exactly what it's like, scaffolding, exactly what it said on the paperwork. It was you know, that small yellow scaffolding, and I bring it over, and the guy says, oh, we actually need the blue one, you know, the big frames, like trade line. And I got cold inside because I thought I made a mistake, you know. So I look at the paperwork. No, it's the correct scaffolding. Basically, they made a mistake on ordering. But they took it, I drop it off. The guy says, okay, we'll try to use this. If it does not work, we'll get the big one, the bigger frames. So yeah, now I'm heading back east towards the airport, and I'm doing a pickup. I'm picking up one of our big scissor lifts. Like this is probably the biggest, yeah, because it can go up to 40 feet in the air. It's big and heavy, probably about 7,500 pounds. So you don't want this thing to roll over your foot, unless you have some safety boots. I'm kidding. Safety boots will not help you. This thing will crush your foot like a walnut. So one of our guys loaded a scissor lift today, and he was No, not one of guys. I think it was yeah, a customer. A customer had a trailer with the ramps, and he was picking up a scissor lift, like a small one. And you know, you can move these ramps, right, to make them more narrow or wider apart to fit the how wide the wheels are on the scissor lift. And so this guy had the ramps too wide, and so he drives the machine on, so the right side the wheels are on the ramp, the left side wheels are in the air between the ramps because the ramps are too far apart. He tries it once, of course does not work. He tried it second time. I come over and say, hey, your wheels are in the air. He tries it again, like and then finally he stops the machine, moves the ramps closer, and then he drives it up on the trailer. I don't know. Just delivered, so it's my second trip. I delivered a small man lift, kind of like a micro scissor lift. Cool machine, you know, just for like one person. It's like 1 by 1 meter, you know, like 3 by 3 feet maybe. That's the basket. And it's a very weird area because there's a railroad here, a huge railroad yard. And the place where I dropped it, they have the word yeast in the title. And the guy comes out and he's wearing a white kind of like coat, like a doctor. So maybe they really make yeast over here, I don't know.
Continue for 1.5 kilometers.
And they're working on this bridge here, or overpass, and you know, as they say, my new expression is 2 things you cannot avoid in life are construction and taxes. I modified the classic one a little bit. So my mom in Russia is not doing too well. She's back in the hospital. And she called me the other day via WhatsApp. I guess they didn't take her phone. And she calls me and she says, Sergei, are you in Peresvet? And I forgot that Peresvet, or Peresvet in Russian, Peresvet, that's the name of the town where she lives, just north of Moscow. And she says, Sergei, are you in Peresvet? Basically, are you in my hometown? I said, no, I'm in Canada. Oh, they told me you came to visit Sasha, your brother. They told her, the voices. I said, no. there's a war going on. Remember, I cannot come over even if I wanted to. So anyway, really, you know, heartbreaking to see, like, 88 years old, and really things started, you know, going downhill. But on her side, on my mom's side, we do have good genes, because her sister, her older sister, lived to be 91 or 92,
300 meters. Use the left 2 lanes to turn left onto the Alberta 2
which I
North
consider
Freeway.
pretty good, you know, like to reach 90 years old. And she would have lived longer, but she broke her hip, the sister, and she spent last like 3 or 4 years kind of like bedridden, you know, not moving, lying in bed because she couldn't walk. And that's definitely shortened her lifespan. So she would live past probably maybe 95, I don't know. Like on my father's side, the genes are bad, right? Because my dad died when he was what, 57, 56, 57, heart attack. But he smoked unfiltered Russian cigarettes called Belamor Canal, unfiltered, 1 or 2 packs a day for probably, I don't know, 30, 40 years, you know. And my brother reminded me when his final heart attack happened, he quit smoking because the doctor told him, you know, no smoking after he had his first heart attack. And so he quit smoking, and then they went to our vegetable plot out of town, where they had some, you know, some potatoes, carrots, you know, stuff like that, like a micro farm. And the weather was good, and I guess he was in a good mood, so he decided to have a smoke. And he didn't smoke, he hadn't smoked for 2 years or 3 years or something. And so he had a cigarette, and when they come home, he had a heart attack, and he died. And so cigarettes, I think, are really more dangerous than booze, you know. Anyway, enough of these about these sad things, but health definitely is the most important thing. Or as they say, health is wealth.
Continue on Alberta 2 North for 13 kilometers.
And so I really want to pay more attention to my own health, you know. That's why I bought a bike. But for some reason I decided not to ride it to work, because it's a, you know, it's an expensive bike. And remember that last one where I discovered the tube went flat? I'm still kind of like suspicious about that, you know, because I rode the bike to work, everything was fine, and then I parked it inside, and 9 hours later I went to get it, and the rear tube was flat. And I looked, I didn't see a single like nail or screw sticking out or anything like that. So just, I think somebody did it on purpose, you know. But why would somebody do that? I didn't have any arguments with the staff, but still, somehow I don't feel like leaving a bike, you know, without unattended, even though it's inside our shop, for 9 or 10 hours, especially this nice bike that I paid over $2,000 for. So yeah, instead of riding to work, so I'm gonna keep driving my Jeep or my Durango, and then when I come home, you see police reported ahead. You see on the right the drive safe vehicle. That's where they have all the cameras. And here the speed limit is 80 kilometers an hour, 50 miles an hour. So
There are police reported ahead.
another. But they like sitting in these areas, kind of like where the speed limit is artificially low. And so yeah, I'm gonna start exercising after work. You know, like before I used to do it before, like would get up at 5 a.m. but it's just crazy. Then you feel tired in the evening, you know. And I just come home and I lie in front of the TV until I fall asleep. And so now I want to change my habits a little bit so I can be more active. So yeah, when I come home from work, that's when I'll do exercises. So like biking, and then alternate every second day kettlebells. And this past week I was just eating all kinds of bad food, you know, like pizza, ice cream, and right away 2 days ago I was at 178.6 pounds, and I scaled today, even though yesterday I had like chicken legs and I had a burger. I didn't have any fries or bread. And this morning I scaled and it says 179.7. Holy moly. So I got a cut on all this. Oh, and I ate a lot of dumplings, you know, the pierogies, because they're so tasty, you know. And a huge bag of pierogies at my local supermarket is like $3, and you get around 30 pierogies. But one pierogi with the potato and onion inside is 50 calories, and they're totally, you cannot get satisfied, you know, because they're just potato inside, you know. And so I remember I ate 10 and then I still feel hungry. The next day I tried 15. So 15 pierogies at 50 calories each, that's 750 calories. But you don't feel full at all, you know. That's what I mean by bad food. So yeah, so this month the focus is on the health, you know, less booze, more exercise. And I did a pause with my accordion. I didn't play probably for a month. So yesterday I started playing again, because it's a great instrument, you know, sounds awesome. So just 15-20 minutes. Yeah, this place where I'm going is tricky. They only have a limited amount of docks, and they have no ramp, and so the machine is inside the scissor lift I'm picking up. And last time I was there, the guy says, well, all our docks are occupied. The waiting time will be about 1 hour. I'm like, what? I said, you don't have a ramp? I can bring out this machine, because I said, I don't need a dock, I can load it from the ground. And they said, no, there's no exit from the building otherwise than through a dock. And so I called my boss. I said, here's the situation. He says, okay, come back, we'll do some other runs and we'll try again with them tomorrow. And I saw there was a text message this guy sent me, so when I stop I'm gonna check it out and see, is it again 1 hour waiting? If yes, then I'm just going back to our yard. Oh, this is Glenmore Trail. I'll check out cool K-Whoppers on the left. Look at this. Wow. And his brother got left behind. Same, looks like same company, same truck, same color. And this guy made it through the amber light, but that guy decided not to take chances. So I can see mountains from here. So this is Glenmore Trail facing west. Oh, nice mufflers. And I just delivered a medium-sized skid steer. And the second load I have is a small, no, what did I say? Medium-sized scissor lift, sorry, scissor lift. And what I have left is this second machine. It's a small skid steer. It's called ASV. You know, fast little thing. It's on tracks, and they are sending me to do an exchange. So basically a customer rented a wheeled skid steer, and for some reason that's not working out for them, and so they decided to change that to a tracked machine. And so I'm bringing up this one, and I'm picking up the old one on wheels. You see this? Beautiful. Wow, tri-drive. And it's an easy route. I just stay on this Glenmore Trail for 9 kilometers, and then I think I turn on Elbow Drive, and it's a private house, so they're somewhere right there. They told me to go in the back alley. And one problem I have with back alleys is that most people don't realize that there's no numbers in the back, right? Oh yeah, it's pretty simple. Go in the back alley. Okay. How the heck do I find your house? You know? Some people do put a number, like usually in the back alley there's a garage, right? And they put a number there. Let's say, 33. So you know that it's house number 33. But most people don't do that. And so usually first I have to drive in the front just to find the house and make a mental note of how it looks, or if it's close to an end of the street, Sergei, it's like third house. And that's what this lady said. Oh, we are third house from Elbow Drive. But yeah, so back alley delivery can be tricky. And sometimes it's not real clear where the entrance is to the back alley, because some streets go like this on a curve. And so some places have so many back alleys, you can get lost in there. Lots of trucks on Glenmore Trail. Oh, today is an interesting day in terms of politics, because our Prime Minister is in the States talking to Trump. The factory in Brampton, Ontario, that Stellantis owns, that's where they were making Challenger cars. And so I had two of them, right? I had a regular Challenger 392, and then I had a Hellcat. And I believe both of those came from Brampton plant. And then 2 years ago they decided to retool the plant, so no more Challengers, no more Chargers, but they said they'll be building the next generation electric Jeep Compass. And they collected a nice pocket change, I think 125 million from the federal government, and same amount from the provincial government from Ontario as incentives to Stellantis to build that electric compass. And now, because of tariffs, I read in the news they stopped retooling that plant in the middle of the process. So basically right now that plant cannot make challenges because half of the equipment is gone, but also they cannot build the new compass because it's not finished. And so those people there, the plant employs 3,000 people, and it's shut down. I think for second month now. So yeah, people are worried, you know. And Stellantis says, well, it's because of tariffs, we have to move some production to US. Which of course would mean lost jobs for Canadian auto workers, and I believe cars will be definitely more expensive if they're built in US. This ASV can be real tricky to start because it's all codes. All our machines, pretty much like all skid steers, they don't have any keys. It's just, you know, number code. Oh, the guy in the front has a Quebec license plate. He's far away from home. It would probably take a week to drive from here to Quebec, depending where in Quebec he lives, or she. And it's a very dirty Honda Odyssey.
In 2 kilometers, take the exit toward Elbow Drive.
Yeah, and so they sent me once also. I was doing an exchange. No, I was just picking up the same ASV, a small skid steer, and it has a very tricky keypad on the left here at the top. And I remember I tried for like half an hour. I could not get it started, so I had to call the shop, ask them for advice, call our mechanic. Finally managed to start it and drive it on the truck. But this time it started fine when I was loading in the yard. Got in, put in the code, press start, boom. And we are near Chinook Shopping Center. Did not make it. A red light. Pretty narrow lanes over here. Alright, I should be turning left somewhere in 1.3 kilometers. Lights every second block. Why do we need so many lights? At the lights, turn left. What lights? Stupid Apple Maps. So I missed my turn.
In 350 meters, turn left onto Madison Avenue Southwest.
So we'll just go for a little tour here in the neighborhood. So this is a very rich area. Like, wow.
Turn left onto Madison Avenue Southwest.
Let's see if I can make it. I think it's this one. But some of these back alleys, they're really narrow because they're not designed for 5-ton trucks.
In 300 meters, turn right onto Elbow Drive Southwest.
Holy moly. No, I cannot make it. Going back. We'll try the other end. Maybe over there it's wider. Yeah, back alley. Come to the back alley. We'll help you load it. But I don't need help. How do I identify your house? Oh, it's number 3 from the elbow drive. Of course, I cannot see anything. There's fence in here. Okay, I can see that side. Alright, now I can somewhat see the road. Forget it. We'll try the back door. So yeah, this guy. So I come from the back there, from the other side, and it's straight. But there's only one exit. And so I see this guy is still working like crazy in that little skid steer. So I just picked up, and he sees me. He parks that machine, comes over to me, and I say, hey, is there another exit? Because I said I tried that side and I wasn't able to. I was afraid. Oh, and you know how often people will tell you, oh, we do that, you know, all the time. And he says, oh, I drove a truck and trailer through there. Truck and trailer. I hope not a semi-truck and trailer. And I said, well, I got afraid. That's very sharp corner. And this guy says, well, I don't care which way you go. I'm in a bit of a hurry. Let's unload. What? Man, somebody's in a real rush to move dirt. And so he says, can I start unchaining? Because I said I need to look for I need to find the code for the, you know, I didn't write it down to start the machine. So while I'm looking for the code, this crazy guy starts unchaining, take the chains off, you know, like he's really impatient, you know. Then he jumps on the bed, gets inside the machine, and tries to start it. Takes him a couple of attempts. As usual, these are not like the easiest machines to enter the code in. And then I said, you okay for me to bring the bed down? Because he's inside the machine. He says, yep, go ahead. All right. So I start the truck and I said, you ready? He says, yeah. So I grab my remote and I start moving the bed, and then he touches down right away. He flies away. The only problem is that thing is so narrow. Like, I was thinking about this, like, how are we gonna unload, you know? Because there's no like pockets. You know, my truck occupies the main lane, and maybe there's like a 1.5 meters on the right, 1.5 meters on the left, but thankfully these machines are not very wide, right? So while he was sitting there thinking, I went around and I picked up this machine that he's returning, and I drove it slowly between the fence and the truck, and I managed to make it. And he saw me do that, and he did the same, and I helped him. I spotted him a little bit because there was like some electric panel in there, and he couldn't see very well, so I said, okay, this way, this way, this way. And as soon as he was through, boom, right away he started pushing dirt. Man, what kind of a project is that where it's like every second counts, you know? and he's just by himself. I'm guessing maybe some workers were coming, you know, maybe he had to finish some like a certain stage of this project. Well, I don't know, or maybe he didn't want to rent the machine for another day or something. And one of the reasons he was exchanging, because I thought there would be like a swampy, you know, swamp kind of like area where the wheeled skid steer does not work. No, it turns out it's all dry. TSL, transmission, what is called, transmission supplies limited. My company sends me here a couple of times a month to pick up some parts for our machines. It's anything to do with transmissions, you know, like bearings, belt drives, couplings.
Turn left.
And so yeah, so I tried to move the machine. I noticed right away that the right pedal, you know, it's that the thing that's on my deck, I hate it because it's that system where you use your feet
Turn left onto Blackfoot Trail.
to operate the bucket, you know, like there's pedals, right? And so left pedal, you push it like this, the arms go up, you push it this way, like with your heel, they go down, right? And then your right foot, it tilts, you know? And so this guy was working, moving dirt, no problem, without tilting the bucket, you know? I guess it got stuck in the at the proper angle where he could still load. But of course, this new machine I brought him, because everything works, it's much better. It's much faster and smoother because it's on tracks. Actually, I like driving this one, like the one I just dropped off, that ASV. It's a very fast little machine, like a little jet fighter, you know? We have a couple of them, and yeah, they're really
4.5 kilometers. Turn left to merge onto Highway 2.
they're really fun to operate. But that pedal no longer works, and that's the reason we were doing the exchange. Probably something got disconnected there, some kind of a lever, because that's what it feels like. You push on it and it's moving a little bit, but nothing happens. So yeah, sometimes you get customers that are really pressed for time, and so you have to keep your cool, be polite, you know, not say anything stupid. So now we're going back to, that's downtown over there. Now we're going back to Deerfoot Trail, Highway 2. And I'll be back at 1:30, so they're definitely gonna give me something else. Well, I'm on the pickup truck, and I have 3 pickups to do. Pickup. So just did the first one. 2 heaters and 2 small tanks. But these heaters, man, they're so heavy. And the guy couldn't hear me. The front door is locked. I'm knocking on the door, and I see lights inside. So I call the guy, our contact, who says there should be a guy working there. I said, hey, the front door is locked. Is there any way I can get in? He says, try the back door. It's probably locked, but there's a lock box in there.
Turn left.
And I said, well, give me the code, please, and I'll open it and I'll close it again after I pick up our stuff. And so I go to the back, and the back door is open. I didn't even see the logbook. So the door is open. I go inside. And there's a guy working on the
Turn left
scissor
onto
lift.
Crowfoot Crescent Northwest. Then take the first left onto Crowfoot Way Northwest.
Probably one of ours as well. And I think he's doing drywall or painting or something. He's all covered in white stuff. And I say, hey, excuse me, I'm here to pick up the heaters. Oh yeah, okay. I said, I talked to this guy. Give him his name. He said it was okay. And so now I'm heading to the second pickup.
Turn left onto Crowfoot Way Northwest. Then turn right onto Nose Hill Drive Northwest.
Which is some scaffolding. But thankfully, the decks are 7 feet long and only 4 frames. 4 large frames, and I forgot how many decks.
At the light, turn right onto Nose Hill Drive Northwest.
So it's somewhere close to downtown. Finally swarmed up a little bit. It was
Stay in the left 2 lanes. In about 2.5 kilometers, turn left onto 87th Street Northwest.
So I think I'm going, if I can see the mountains, that means that I'm going west. Yeah, because this is Nose Hill Drive, which goes like this, west to east. Yeah, and this is Crowchild, which goes roughly north to south. Because yeah, I can see the mountains. And surprisingly, there's still some snow on the ground where that Olympic complex is. Over there, far away. Oh, and a funny thing, my battery is gonna die soon. A funny thing happened. So yesterday the Amazon guy tried to deliver my new camera at 11 a.m. when I was at work, right? They never came back after 5 like they promised. And I have a note on my account saying that do not deliver before 5 p.m. Nobody's available. And so today I could not believe it when at 2 p.m. my phone rang and it says Amazon. And it's a different guy. And he connected to me through intercom on the front of the building. Amazon, basically, open up. I said, no, I'm at work. I told you guys, I told your colleague, deliver after 5. Well, we'll try again tomorrow. I said, could you please tell your customer service that has to be after 5? I'm not sure, it might not be me tomorrow. Can I, like, you know, I feel so freaking helpless, you know, like these guys keep showing up at their own time. And so I called customer service. Called customer service, they found me, they found my account in like 2 seconds by my phone. And she sends me a text message for verification, so to make sure it's me. But the phone was like the key, my phone number was the key. And so what's the issue? I said delivery issue. Which purchase? I said, well, there's 2, because yeah, this guy who called me at 2 p.m. I said, how many packages you have? He says 2, because Sunday I ordered the camera, and then yesterday I ordered the pump, you know, for that special what is it, Presta valves. And so this guy shows up with 2 packages, and I said, please do not leave them at the door. One of them is $2,000, like the camera. And so I'm talking to customer service, and I said, guys, I have a note on my profile. I said, I cannot be there before 5. And the guy puts me on hold, comes back, he says, yeah, no problem. I'm gonna put a note on your account on our end here. And then he sends me an email saying that he complained to the dispatch team, you know, why they didn't check the you know, hours when I'm there. So I'm not sure what's gonna happen, but this was customer service for Amazon Canada. And he says, are you gonna be there today after 5? I said, yeah. He says, well, if we find this package.
At the light, turn left onto 87th Street Northwest.
we can try to deliver today. Are you okay with like late delivery? I said, sure, yeah. Like, come at 10 o'clock, I don't care. But I just want to get these packages, you know, I don't want them to get lost, especially the camera. And so that's what's happening. So I'm going back home. I'm gonna sit there and wait. Second day, like yesterday I waited, nothing happened. So you cannot leave because, you know, they can come at any minute. But normally a couple of times they came like 9 o'clock or 9:30. Or you're 2 stops away. It shows you like the map on the Amazon, you know, when you do tracking. And it shows you like where the vehicle is located. And then finally you see it says, you are the next stop. Okay, and then like 5 minutes later, your phone rings and the guy says, Amazon, have a package. So yeah, sometimes it's a problem when you live by yourself, you know, like these deliveries can be very stressful.